Let's square up lesbian culture. New analysis finds lesbians make more money than straight women. Here's why. Lesbians tend to make more money than straight women. It's a phenomenon known as the lesbian wage premium. And recently, Aria Velz shared a video explaining exactly why this may be. And it's honestly fascinating.
Why do lesbians earn more money than straight women? For years, social scientists have observed that lesbians consistently out-earn straight women. According to a meta-analysis of 30 international studies, gay women earn an average of 9% more than straight women with variations by country. This has been observed so often that it even has a name, the lesbian wage premium. So why is that? Why do lesbians, particularly in the US, out-earn straight women? We can start at the obvious. Lesbians tend to be more educated than straight women, are less likely to have children, live more predominantly in cities, have more professional jobs, but even when controlling for all of these factors, the lesbian wage premium is still present, so what else could it be? Well, one hypothesis is that it could have to do with the division of labor among the households, and so to look at that, we also have to look at the gender wage gap a bit. While the gender wage gap has certainly gotten smaller, one of the reasons why the gap still exists is the expectations that women face for domestic and emotional labor that men tend not to have. Generally, in heterosexual couples, the women are more likely to be the primary child rearer and family caretaker, and they are more likely to take on the domestic labor responsibilities at home, meaning that women will often have to make the trade-off for advancing their career in order to maintain the house, while men usually just have to focus on their careers. In contrast, lesbian households have more equal domestic labor distributions among the couple than straight households. There is not one partner who tends to oversee domestic responsibilities and one partner who is able to focus more on work and earn money. Both lesbian partners generally contribute more equally to the household and their careers, meaning that lesbians do not face the same trade-offs that straight women do when it comes to focusing more on their family or their career, and that translates into lesbians being able to earn higher wages. Interestingly, when you look at the wages of lesbians who have lived with a previous male spouse and lesbians who have never lived with a male spouse, the lesbian wage premium is significantly more present for the lesbians who have never lived with a male spouse. The lesson here is not that lesbians are better at making money. It reconfirms that the domestic labor situation at home contributes to how women earn more outside the home, and lesbians have just learned that lesson first.
Aria says that for years, social scientists have observed that lesbians consistently out-earn straight women. According to a meta-analysis of 30 international studies, gay women earn an average of 9% more than straight women, with variations by country. If true, the question is why? Velz has some thoughts. One could be that lesbians tend to be more educated than straight women. Others include lesbians are less likely to have children, live more predominantly in cities, and have more professional jobs. Then Aria reaches the hypothesis that the lesbian wage premium could be directly tied to gender roles. In straight couples, women generally do most of the domestic work and childcare. Lesbian homes tend to share duties more equally. I find this fascinating. I love these kind of studies that explore within our community. And I actually know I have gone to school and I have worked with some of the smartest lesbians, and I'm not surprised. And yeah, the gender role is definitely something that I totally believe that it supports this hypothesis. I mean, there is not such a thing as being the breadwinner, always thinking, you had to be the man. So in our relationship, this doesn't play that role. I mean, we can, switch the role and it works both ways. And education, we're more educated. There is no doubt about it. So.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you. I also love these kinds of studies. That is, I feel like we don't talk about like kind of LGBTQ economics or kind of us at the workforce enough, because these are really big issues that affect our everyday lives, and somehow they kind of they get put behind other things like cultural and so on, which are also, of course, very significant. But that is like, I remember the whole DINK phenomenon, the double income, no kids, like this, like, and largely was disproven. And like that there's always been kind of, but this, by the way, also, I did not know Aria Velz before. I want to go follow them right now. Like, that is like, that explanation was incredible. And I really like how they broke it all down. But one of the things that I really, really appreciate here is the clear story is sexism, right? Like, that is at the kind of core, is at the kind of, at the societal level, at the home, like the kind of double labor. This is really what it's exposing, right? Like, that is like, what we're seeing is the kind of disproportionate way that gender, especially those who are lean, feminine, who are read as women, who so on and so forth, have this kind of double burden, right? A triple burden often, and so on and so forth. And this is playing out in this very clear study. And I want to read this study.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
I have to dovetail with, because the thought I had was, oh, great, lesbians are making 9% more than straight women. Women are still underpaid, period, end of statement.
Right.
There was something else, and this is good news because I'm old enough to remember when lesbians were at the bottom of the economic scale, and a lot of them were living in poverty, especially as they got older and had to retire. So, I think I want to read this study too, or, and what Julio said is true. We don't talk enough about us as a labor force, as an economic force, our economic issues, because, and I remember saying this on a, prior, we are not taught to value ourselves as LGBTQ plus people, and that they play into that. And we, to a certain level, allow them to play into that.
And he talks also about the importance of coming out and being supported by your family, because a lot of people that basically, have to drop out of school.
Right.
So because they came out, they have no support at home, and they don't have the financial support, they can continue their education. This is one of the consequences.
Well said.
Right. The fact that we are supported and we can, I say it for myself. I had to stay in the closet to complete my career and, to complete my schooling.
Yeah.
And it's very important that you are supported and that you can, fulfill your dreams and, you can get to marriage or to a relationship or whatever you want to do in life, fully educated, with the plan that you had when you were young.
Well
I'd like to bring in Bobby, and I want to keep you in the conversation because you both are from other countries originally, and this study references that adjustments were made by countries. What is the dissection of labor in the household as in heterosexual and homosexual in other countries? Is the division of labor still as down the line as it used to be, or are other countries coming up faster?
I'll speak for myself. From a different background probably than Bobby's, but there is a lot of the patriarchal, design of the home. It's changing, however, in cities, and, women are getting, in my school, we were 50-50. Maybe women were more and I went to medical school, so women were becoming doctors. And, but again, I speak for myself. As a doctor, as a physician, being out as a doctor was a risk. It was a high risk. I was probably not going to be able to finish medical school. So I had to stay in the closet until I finished medical school. So, but again, this is me in the 90s. So maybe, things are changing, but it's not much of a change. And I can guarantee you in the countryside, it's even worse. So,
Bobby?
Well, meanwhile, in Asia, the patriarchal attitude most certainly remains. Although there are, in places such, even in Hong Kong, which is a long time, being very westernized. The expectation has always been, women would have a career, but she's expected to be a mother, like when she got married, But there are professional women out there. I left that city a long time ago. During the dinosaur years. So I can't tell you, what actually is happening now in terms of gender equality. But I would say that the patriarchal attitude of, men is the breadwinner has always been there. And that's not even counting countries such as Korea and Japan, where the attitude is, and China, where the attitude is still certainly there.
Okay. You're right, Julio, that a lot of those stereotypes were disproven over time. It's interesting that what makes this interesting to me is that it's proving a stereotype correct. Like, it's one of those things that we've all sort of joked about, and I certainly have, made some of my lesbian friends buy me drinks because they make more money than me. It's something that we've joked about. But for this study to come out and say, yes, this is a real thing, and I hope that it's something that our heterosexual men and women can take a page from and say, look, there's a better way to do this without just being you all this one role and you all this. Roles have to cross over now.
I also think that there's one of the reasons the study, without having read it, that seems much stronger is that it's not kind of conflating all LGBTQ people in the same kind of space, right? Like that is, it's hard to just like, in terms of LGBTQ, the kind of differences in access to male privilege, to class privilege, to race, so on and so forth. That is a kind of, and here we're kind of looking at a particular group and the kind of, and that way, like the DINK phenomenon was really, conflating, like as it just didn't work in the same way. And here, I mean, again, I would love to read this because it's fascinating, and we need to talk more about this. Like we need to be more comfortable talking about economics.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely.